person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new, Albert Einstein. Let me introduce myself. I'm the host for today's podcast, Aishwarya Gayatri from Grow Junction, the EdTech platform. And today's guest is Dhananjay Singh, who is a senior marketing manager at Edelweiss Tokio Life Insurance. He has worked at Kuvera and has done his MBA from MICA Ahmedabad. So, Dhananjay, have I missed anything in the introduction?
No, no. Thank you, Aishwarya, for this opportunity. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah. So are you? I mean, I hope that you are also doing well.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So anything else you want to add in your introduction, or we should go
Uh,
forward?
so, Aishwarya, I'm a 2016 MICA pass out. Post that I joined Edelweiss Tokio Life Insurance in their digital marketing team. I was really fascinated with the buzzword of 2016 digital marketing at that point of time. While I majored in brand management, I was fairly curious to try this out, and a lot of my side hustles during my college days were around digital marketing. So I said, why not just give it a try? So I joined in digital marketing. It was something that I was looking forward to. Over a period of time, I have kind of evolved my role to go to where I started from. I am handling the brand for Edelweiss Tokio Life Insurance. I head the brand for them, and at the same time, I of course look after some bit of digital marketing, not all of it, but I have both in my role now. So it's a full circle for me.
Oh, that's very interesting. Going back a little bit, how was your college life during bachelor's? I mean, the work life before MBA, the college life during bachelor's. If you kind of have.
So I actually aspired to go to IIT at one point of time. I got bored midway through 12, and I was sure I wanted to do MBA, so I chose the easy way out. I did my bachelor's in business administration uh, just to save a year and possibly prep at the same time while I was studying. So at the end of the second year or something, I decided to just casually give it a try and prepare for MBA, for CAD and all the competitive exams. Uh, by the time I think midway through third year, I had given most of my exams and I cracked um, a bit of exams, a couple of IMs and NMAT and SNAP and all of those. Uh, I was introduced to MICA. So MICA is not very well known in the MBA fraternity, right? Because it's a well hidden secret uh, for the MBA aspirants. I got to know about MICA, I think 7 or 8 days before the window for applying was closing. I applied for it. I read about MICA, all those chota chota Reddit forums and all of those things. Got really excited. I was one of those who had seen Mad Men way too many times, and I wanted to be in advertising
Exactly.
from what means. So I knew for sure I wanted to be in MICA. So I did whatever preparation I could, reached out a couple of alums to understand what it requires. Fun interview. MICA is always an interesting place. They will make it really interesting for you from the day you step foot on the campus, right from the interview or GDPI process to uh, actually joining it. It was a fun process. I cracked it. Joined MICA in 2014, and 2 years later, after a lot of tears and alvidas, I joined my professional life.
So, how was your transition? Okay, so you did a BBA and then an MBA. So,
Yeah.
you are my first guest who has done a BBA and an MBA. Generally, there are people who do a BA and then an MBA, or a BTech and an MBA, or a BA and an MBA. So, how do you see? I mean, the peers that you must have had a lot of peers who came from different backgrounds, and you came from the background that MBA was designed for. Was there a difference?
See, so typically in my case, MICA is a very diversified college in terms of, the gender ratio is always 50-50%. Even if it is more, it is skewed towards the female gender. You have people from all backgrounds. We had dentists joining in, CAs joining in. You have, a lot of professional backgrounds also, and of course, educational backgrounds. Uh, the only thing that BBA helps with, see, at the end of the day, MBA is a very generic degree. It's more about peer-to-peer learning, more about handling a professional environment and really learning a couple of skills without actually learning something. Or MBA is a lot of uh, the noise around what you can expect from work life and what do you need to do, right? You might still, you might do a degree in whatever you want to, you might major in finance, marketing, or whatever you want, still go to a job. It'll take you 6-8 months to learn a lot of things about what you're expected to do in that job. uh, so for me, coming from BBA, my first 6 months were really good. I had a lot of time. I didn't need to study a lot, so I could really chill for the first 6 months in my college life. But post that, let's just say everyone comes in the equal ground in it, and then you know, it's still helpful, right? It's like I've studied marketing for let's just say 4 years, not just 2 years. Philip Kotler was at least a friend when known when I was in my.
Exactly. You were saying something. Please continue.
No, no, I'm done.
So, MBA college life. I mean, how would you describe MICA? I've heard a lot of things about it, and quite frankly, it was because I have a personal connection who had attended the same. But like you said, it's a hidden secret. So, how would you describe it to people who, and to our viewers who don't know the secret?
Um, See, it's very difficult to describe what you experience at MICA in the 2 years you're there. It's a feeling, it's an experience. It's much more than academics or whatever you learn in classes. Uh, it's an isolated place in the middle of nowhere, right? It's in Shela village on the outskirts of Ahmedabad. So you tend to just live with uh, 300 people, 350 people on that campus, and those become kind of your life. Everything revolves around that campus. So a lot of riffing, a lot of thinking outside the classes, a lot of times discussions. Uh, it's a very uh, post-liberal college. People. Even if you look at the kind of courses you have in academics, right? Social communications. There are a lot of topics that you talk about in MICA that you wouldn't in real life. A lot of focus is on overall development, on not just becoming good marketeers, but ethical marketeers, right? What kind of work you do, what kind of impact it leaves. Uh, you know, for example, a stupid mistake like showing a woman in your ad in a way that might be detrimental to society at that point of time. Or a lot of those things. It's so let's just say from BBA, when I was in BBA, right? I did study marketing. It was very bookish. It was a lot of uh, definitions and things and PPTs that you make for marketing, STP, and all of those things. In MICA, you kind of really delve deep into what communication is, how does it affect the immediate stakeholders of an organization, how does it affect the larger society, uh, the narrative it helps shape, all of those things. So it's a pretty interesting place. The people are nice, people are chilled out, so many different backgrounds. There's not a boring day. A lot of fun things to do at MICA. Uh, Very good vibes, to be really honest. It's what we used to call it is a resort. We paid for a resort for 2 years, and now we're expected to learn in it.
And that's a very interesting take to it. Get a result for 2 years. How did you decide on being a marketer and eventually being a marketing manager? Was there a process to it? How did you come to it? I mean, how did the Dhananjay land on being, going to
So
marketing
I
instead of HR, operations, finance, anything else?
so MICA only offers specializations in marketing, right? If you're joining MICA, you know that you will be in marketing. In what shape or format is something that you can decide later on. But for me, it was early on. I think The first time I was introduced to marketing was during my second semester of BBA, and I think since then it's something that I really like. Right, some bit of it was the Madman fever back in the days, but most of it was, uh, I think. See, I'm a nerd. I love movies, series, music, whatever it is, right? I love the way people tell stories, even in movies, TV series, or something like that. For me to be a part of that ecosystem in whatever capacity, right? To tell a story of a brand, to tell a story of a person, of a leader, or whatever it is, it was something that really fascinated me. My interest grew from there, but of course, uh, over a period of time, you tend to understand a lot about it. For example, in the beginning, marketing is what it's advertising, right? When you don't understand anything about marketing, it's something that you see on TV, on billboards and everything, and what an ad and all of those things. Over a period of time, even in my BBA days, but more so during my MICA stint, I understood what all is there in marketing. From marketing research to media planning to communications. It's a very broad field, right? And it's something that is centric to any business, building any business. From there on, my interest really peaked. At that point of time, I was really confused on what I wanted to major in. Brand management is something that really interests me. It's like a baby to me. I love handling a brand, telling the story of a brand. I absolutely love doing it. But at that point of time, the job market really skewed towards digital jobs, right? It was the buzzword. It was something that was going to take you into the future, keep you apart from the rest. I was so eager to learn it that I actually had done all my Google certifications by the second trimester before even the courses started. I was really curious about it. Uh, but over a period of time, I've learned it's all marketing. Digital is just another medium that you market on. Different set of tools, different set of rules, but it's the same exact questions. Who is your TG? What do they want? Why would they listen to you? Where all do you want to stand? How do you differentiate yourself? All those basic questions that you answer in any marketing problem is what you do it in digital. So over a period of time, my career has also shaped from digital to brand management to now actually leading the brand.
Okay. So, any advice you would give to people who find themselves in a situation where the market is skewed towards something else, and they are standing at a place, or they have an interest at a place that is not as much, being focused on, or be taken in volumes, or people are not being taken in volumes. Like you said, you eventually did come to brand management, but the market took you towards digital, and then you rose up to it. So any advice
See,
for people in that situation?
see, honestly, it's a very personal question, right? Uh,
Exactly. Yeah. This is all subjective. Yes.
very subjective, very personal. See, there is nothing wrong in learning a tool, mastering a tool, and knowing the what's and about of that tool to the T, right? Let's just say if you're really good at Google AdWords or SEM or SEO, whatever it is, and you're really good at it, there is a career for you, right? If you really do enjoy doing it and you think you want to create a career out of it, there is a career out of it, right? There is a career in marketing research, there is a career in brand management, there is a career in media planning, there is a career in a lot of fields within marketing, right? And I think more and more companies are looking for specialists, right? There is something called as a social media marketing manager right now. For me, it's something that a digital marketing should just do automatically. It's not something that you should specifically hire for or specially learn about. Because to be honest, if in a lot of industries, minus the cool tech brands, social media marketing really doesn't alone
So yeah,
require a job role,
single-handedly
right?
doesn't lift. Yeah.
Require a job. But at the same time, I know a lot of my colleagues, I know a lot of my batchmates who have taken a specific uh, you know,
Good.
direction for their career, and they're moving in that direction, and it will eventually take you there. Only thing I would advise is just look at what you will be doing 5 years, 7 years, 10 years down the line, right? And if that still excites you, go for it. There is no
Exactly.
right
Look at
answer
the
to
bigger
it.
picture.
Yeah, matlab, see, at the end of the day, the reason I shifted from digital to marketing was it is a little bit redundant after a while, right? It is, let's just say you have 10 ad accounts, you set up those 10 ad accounts. A lot of it then is managing it, right? Whatever keywords you want to bid for, whatever publishers you want to go for, and all of those things. Then you optimize your campaigns. You have a support of a digital marketing agency when you are optimizing those campaigns. After a while, you will feel that more or less it's just going to be the same thing that you're doing time and time again. And hence, if if there is a if you're in an organization where digital marketing and marketing are very separate, right? There are a lot of organizations like that right now. Digital marketing is running as its own rebel child, and marketing is trying to catch up with the digital marketing folks. But if you're in an organization like that, always ask yourself a question: if this is something that excites you over a 5, 7, 10 year duration, something you should do. No judgments.
No, nobody's judging, and actually, this is very sound advice. Looking at the bigger picture, we need to see that if we are interested in doing the same thing or that thing 5, 10 years down the
Yeah.
line. So, I mean, just wanted to touch over how did you come upon opportunities from Shoppers Stop, Hindustan Times Media, Kuvera, and eventually Edelweiss Tokio Life Insurance. You had internships and experiences over here. Any pain points or struggle, anything like that?
Uh, okay, so Shoppers was my summer internship. Uh, so I got hired from the campus. It was a 2 month stint at Shoppers Stop. I was working on the only retail strategy for Shoppers Stop at that point in time. They were going through a major shift in trying to catch up with the wave that e-commerce had brought into the country at that point of time, and they wanted to do something different. Of course, leverage their physical retail channels, not just their uh, newly built online presence. So what they wanted to do was essentially, you know, buy from anywhere, pick up from anywhere, return at any store. If you want to, just go to a store, buy it on a tablet, and you get it delivered to your home. All of those things were supposed to be possible at that point. That is something that I was working on, understanding the feasibility of it. Um it was an interesting bit, to be honest. Post that, I had done a 1 month stint on in HT Media, specifically Mint. So Mint was going through a repositioning exercise at that point of time. So I was involved with that project. To be really honest, it's something that I love doing. It's uh, They were very gracious to really open the doors for me to get into the heat of things. Actually, for a 1 month intern, really no one bothers, but they were really gracious to get me into the meetings with the agencies, to get me midst of the discussions, treat me as an outsider whose voice they would really listen to. So it was really interesting for me. Of course, that is not a project that takes 1 month. So I joined in middle and left in between. But it was really, really exciting and interesting. For the third part, Guvera doesn't exist anymore. But uh, so back in the day when I was in college, I'm a avid rock and roll fan. So I love rock and roll. Um, I I had started to try out Twitter as a medium at that point in time. I was just still my baby nascent digital phase. Whatever I can get on digital, I'll do it. So I was trying out Twitter at that point of time. I created a Twitter handle dedicated to rock music called Rock Origins. It over a period of time got big, decently big. I got 50,000 followers or something, and it was a global audience. And I, 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 I got in touch with Govera. Govera was looking at a partner who could really, uh, get their app um, installed by multiple people in the MBA community within India. So I got in touch with them. I started working with them as a social media influencer. Um, Over a period of time, that relationship engagement grew into more into a community manager. Someone who would look after how colleges across India would interact with Govera, why would they use Govera, and all those things. And it was a thing that lasted for almost 8 9 months for me. Uh, and it was a really fun experience. I was doing what I really love. I was doing something in music. I was just trying to force Led Zeppelin and Beatles down the throat of everyone who was listening to Hanu Singh at that point of time. So it was a fun bit. Of course, after I joined my job, I did not really get a lot of time to continue doing it. Um, you know, any social media handle or any to all the influencers out there, great job. It really takes a lot of time and effort every day at any given point of time. You really glue to your devices. That was something that I could not do after joining my new organization, and had to kind of drop it after.
Okay. I mean, that's a very interesting experience that you had. And quite frankly, I remember Guvera from my college days back in
Yeah,
2014-15. They were trying out the markets, and yeah, everybody was listening to Honey Singh. They still are, I think.
I
So,
think it was an Australian startup.
yeah.
Uh, their burn rate was way more than what they were expecting in revenue, so it did not really last. But it was a fun startup while it was around. It was pretty fun. Yeah.
So, marketing as a career, I mean, how did you, for people who are tuning in and who see who has heard about marketing but don't know the nitty gritty of it. You said that advertising is the most, accessible form of marketing that today's generation can, relate to. But
Today's
as a,
generation, anyone who's outside the industry would look at marketing as a bunch of people sitting in a room creating ads and having fun. But yeah, please continue.
So just wanted to ask you, I mean, marketing as a career from an industry perspective and from an aspiring student's perspective. Imagine a student who does not have any idea of it. They know that it is being offered in MBA, but they don't know what's the future of it or what's the trends that there are today. And even from the industry perspective, how the industry looks at marketing right now.
I'll divide it into two parts.
Sure.
One is I'll get into the industry part later on. First thing is, let's just say you have decided you want to go for marketing. Marketing today is a lot of things. Uh, with the new companies, specifically the startups, the tech companies coming in, and uh, the gamut of marketing, the way we look at marketing has changed a lot, right? For example, product management is a role which a marketer can do very well. That is not something that marketers used to do, let's say 5 years or 10 years back. Growth marketing, performance marketing, and all of these things. There's a lot of noise in marketing right now. Uh, you can get really overwhelmed, you can get really confused while you're trying to choose which direction you want your career to be in. Uh, there is, of course, the factor of companies and what kind of roles they hire for, right? If there is an Amazon or a Google coming to your campus, you would definitely want to be preparing for those specific roles. Um, my advice in that manner would be there are some fundamentals, some truths about marketing, right? There is the consumer, there is the marketplace. Those are fundamental truths. There are some questions that every marketer asks about any given problem, any given market, any given set of consumers. They solve that problem and then everything else comes, right? Once you know that this is the market I want to go for, this is the kind of consumer I want to go for. Then you will think about the kind of communication you go for. Then you will think about what kind of media mix you want to keep for that kind of a consumer. How do you reach that consumer? Of course, if you grow very rapidly, you can call that media mix growth marketing. But at the end of the day, it's all the same thing. You really need to have a fundamental strong. These days, I see a lot of students really focused from day one on digital marketing per se, right? And it's just you're doing a lot of this, injustice to yourself, because that's literally just like 5 to 7% of marketing, right? That I would suggest like 50% of marketing is the fundamentals of marketing, understanding marketing research, understanding the consumer, and all of those things. And then you move on to things that you can be really good at. Marketing analytics is a good field, right? You can do marketing analytics, but I would just still suggest, like, if you're not a person who really understands the consumers well, really doesn't understand your consumers well, you will not be able to do justice to that role as you would otherwise. So one thing is, while there is a lot of noise around you, to really, really, really focus on the fundamentals and whatever the age-old truth about marketing is. There are a lot of things that keep changing. Marketing is very instant right now, very rapid, right? Things happen during at 9 a.m. and brands jump on it at 10 a.m. and all of those things. So that is something that really distracts you. FOMO is a big, big, big problem for marketing, Janta. But let's just say you really need to focus on your fundamentals. It will serve you in the long run. The second thing is industry. See, marketing changes a lot drastically, unlike a lot of other functions across industries. For example, mm, FMCG marketing is a very central role, right? Marketeers are brand managers. They are the guys who handle P&L. They are the guys who will essentially handle the entire four P's and whatever you want to call it for the product or brand that they handle. It is very centric. They handle communication, packaging, selecting market research, everything, P&L, distribution, talking to distributors, and all of those things. Um, in an e-commerce setup, marketing could be in the role of a community manager. It could be in a role of a campaign manager. Amazon would give you a role like a category manager or something like that, right? It changes a little bit across industries right now. You will be taught marketing giving a lens of FMCG, right? That's the bitter truth uh, about colleges these days. Everything that you're taught today, it is from a lens of an HUL or a PNG and all of these things. The brilliant companies, good opportunities. If you get a chance to join me, jump with both your feet. Uh, no questions asked. But a lot of these companies don't hire in bulk or something like that, right? A lot of people will be working in different industries, right? Some of them will be in e-commerce, a lot will be in BFSI, a lot will be in retail and other things, right? Uh, I'll give you an instance of how it really, really changes in BFSI. So here is an industry, right, where when a consumer looks at you, there is no visible differentiation between products, right? If you look at life insurance of A from life insurance of B from life insurance of C, there are no visible differentiators. If I ask a consumer to logically really, help me understand why this and why not this, the consumer is going to have a really hard. A similar thing could be said about, let's say, HDFC, a premium card and a credit card, Citibank, a premium credit card, right? After a while, they both give rewards and do a similar job. सबके साथ launch का दो visits मिल जाता है, dining पे थोड़ा सा extra point मिल जाता है. It's very difficult to create visible differentiations in a BFSI industry, right? Very similar products with very similar features with very similar benefits perceived by the user. So, in an industry like this, your entire focus is on creating tangents or creating uh, umbrellas wherein you can create that visible differentiation for your brand, right? Um, it goes way beyond the kind of product or service that you offer. It has to be, for example, HDFC Bank will, continually talk about blood donation as a concept, right? That is an angle that they've taken to build their brand. One of the times, of course,
Yeah.
HDFC does a lot. So, right, we do a lot of things around organ donation, and we do a lot of things around festivals or whatever it is, right? So, uh, a lot of it is trying to, you know, uh, having a realization that this is a category that consumers don't want to talk about, this is a category that consumers want to run away from, and still grab their attention and still help them choose your brand over other brands every time that they do a BFSI transaction is something that you primarily do in a marketing role in a BFSI industry. It's interesting. It's very interesting. It's not let's just say it's not the marketing that we typically learn. There is not a lot of stuff about products. There's not a lot of stuff about packaging because you can't package them much. Um a savings account is going to be a savings account at the end of the day. But you do a lot of market research. You do a lot of BFSI is one of the uh, foremost brands in terms of spend on digital media. They were the first ones to really leverage digital media in terms of performance marketing in this country. So it's a huge industry with a lot of opportunities, but of course, it's a little different from other industries that you might go for. So to keep an open mind about those things.
Okay. These are actually very, very useful insights about the BFSI market for our viewers because, quite frankly, we more often than not get engaged in marketing exercises that are more geared towards industries that are, I mean, products that we buy more frequently. That could be
Yeah,
FMCG goods or something like that. But bank account is something that we open for totally different set of reasons that might and might not involve marketing as a whole. But the insights that you've given, how BFSI looks at marketing and how they approach marketing, is really, really useful for people who want to pursue marketing as a whole. There might be pockets that are unexplored.
yeah,
So, just one more thing. You've seen that we went from offline to online due to the COVID pandemic, and then from online to again back offline or some hybrid sorts. So these two trends, I mean, how do you see this affecting the education, MBA experiences, and even work cultures? I mean, you being a marketing manager, you must have had a collaborative role. So how was it offline to online, online to offline? How do you see education if you would have experienced education in this timeline? I mean, you got educated during the offline days. So how do you see
of course.
that?
Uh,
Ever
See, to be
wondered
really
about this?
honest, uh, I really feel bad for the students who have done their MBA virtually for 2 years. For me, see, I can understand to an extent if uh, you were in your undergrad and you had to do 2 years offline and 2 years online and all those things. But MBA is as much about your peers and your environment than it is about what you learn in classes. I actually would say 70% of it is what you learn at the campus, what you learn from each other at your campuses, what you do to win those late night case studies and really, burn the midnight oil and all of those things. It is that is MBA for me, to be really honest. So I would definitely suggest just force your colleges to open and just have that time at your campuses. It is very important, to be really honest. Opens up your mind to a lot of things. It's a lot of different people with a lot of different experiences, with a lot of different perspectives. And MBA, you're at an age where you're mature enough to talk about those things, to understand those things, and you really need to be face to face, have that thing going on, to be very honest. Uh, Online, I can't imagine. It's it's okay, right? Like in the beginning, we were all excited. working from home and all of those things, I had actually I actually gotten a dog uh, 2 months prior to the pandemic, and you can't imagine my happiness that I could stay at home, take care of him, and spend a lot of time with him. Uh, it doesn't. It's I don't know if it is the very limitation that you have to stay at home and work, or it is the virtual thing or whatever it is. After a while, it's just not as productive as everyone would have imagined. The just the freedom, right? Right now, a lot of organizations have given the freedom to employees to come to office if they want to, right? Just that freedom really opens up a lot of space in your mind. It's just better to have that freedom to just meet up with your colleagues and just sit down on a cup of chai and riff ideas and do all of those things. I genuinely believe that shouldn't go away from professional life or even from college life, specifically from college life.
I
College
totally
is
agree with
nothing.
your point because we did 2 trimesters of our MBA online, and the third trimester we realized what we were missing out on. So
Of
yeah, I
course,
totally agree with you.
yeah, and specifically, you know, the campuses that are residential, all the IIMs and all of these MICAs and all of the work, but it's a very different environment to be really honest to miss out on. And तुम लोग अभी what do you guys do for your inter college competition and everything? It's on Zoom only. All the marketing
Oh,
tests and all of those things.
those were online, but now they are coming back offline, and we are realizing how many dimensions that you are missing out on for such competitions. Because online competitions are, I mean, those are very shallow images of what they can actually be. And like I said, you just don't get to interact that much with the opposing teams. There might be
Yeah,
ideas they have, opinions they have for your campaigns, and the same goes the other way around. So that interaction doesn't happen,
yeah,
competitive
yeah.
or otherwise. वो competition ही नहीं होता,
मतलब
and once
I
the
think
meeting is ended, it's gone.
the best part of it was traveling to different campuses, the entire banter when a college is coming to your campus trying to win a football match and you're just after their lives to lose. I think that's just fun. Shouldn't miss out on it.
Exactly. Before we wrap this up, any advice, life or otherwise, for our viewers?
It all works out in the end. See, a lot of times, you guys are going to go in your second year, and I'm sure to an extent you would have experienced this during your summers. There is no logic to placements. You don't understand why you don't get shortlisted or you end up in a particular organization, why a particular organization just won't look at you or anything. It's okay, something that you can't control at this point of time. You will get placed where you get placed. You can prepare for n number of organizations. You should do your hard work. You should do your due diligence whenever you're sitting for an interview or whatever you're doing. But uh, if you don't land your dream company or you don't get into the profile you always wanted or the city of your choice, it's okay. It's not the end. It will work out. There are a lot of opportunities out there. The market is evolving way faster than anyone can cope up with. New roles are just popping up left, right, and center. And I think a lot of traditional organizations are opening up to the idea, that it's just not the pedigree that you come from. It's also the experience and the enthusiasm that you bring to the role. So don't lose heart. I'm sure uh, it's all works out. To be really honest,
That is
wherever you.
that is really really kind advice, and I hope that it all works out. I mean, I hope that it's true for everyone and each and every one of the viewers who have tuned in. I would like to thank again Dhananjay and for giving your time on a Sunday. I would like to thank Grow Junction for organizing this podcast, and to our viewers who have tuned in. Thanks, Dhananjay.
Thank you, sir.